Hongmei. Thank you everyone for coming today. Happy Monday. So, as you all may know, tomorrow, April 22nd, marks 6 months since I stepped into the role of superintendent here at SFUSD. It's been a busy and meaningful half year. I continue to feel deeply humbled and grateful for the opportunity to lead our public school system towards long-term calm, stability, and trust. My focus remains clear: to build a district where families have confidence, staff feel valued, and every student receives a quality education right here in San Francisco. I am pleased to share that we are making significant progress on our fiscal stabilization plan, a critical step in our effort to improve student outcomes and strengthen the learning environment across all of our schools. At tomorrow's Board of Education meeting, I will be sharing an update of our central office reorganization and staffing reduction. I will also share our progress on implementing a new payroll and budget system to replace our current outdated infrastructure and bring greater efficiency to our operations. We are taking a thoughtful, multi-pronged approach, balancing the budget carefully while doing everything we can to minimize the impact on students and our staff. Everything we do is guided by our belief that every dollar should support student success, and that strong systems create the foundation for thriving schools. SFUSD must submit a board-approved budget to the state of California by June 30th, 2025. The district is on track to meet that deadline, but the process ahead will require lots of difficult decisions. We cannot hide from that. There is no sugarcoating that. As district leaders and adults, it is our responsibility to make those difficult decisions. But it has to be balanced with responsibility to safeguard the opportunities for our students for tomorrow. The Board of Education has already approved 2 interim budget reports that I've submitted, and of course the required annual audit, which shows a clear commitment to fiscal discipline and long-term financial health. SFUSD is committed to ending our habit of deficit spending and avoid future state oversight. We have been living on a credit card, and this cycle is not acceptable. Our students deserve better. Our staff deserves better. Approximately 85% of SFUSD's $1.2 billion budget is allocated towards staffing. To meet the $114 million planned reduction for school year 2025-2026, we have to make significant workforce reduction in both our central office as well as school sites. These decisions are being made with student success at the center. Every effort is being made to minimize disruption to students and classrooms. Our goal is to ensure every dollar spent directly supports student learning. We must ensure that we have a qualified teacher in every single classroom. We must protect classroom instruction. And we need to continue to support our students to feel that they belong and are valued and engaged in our classrooms and in our schools. The early retirement package we've offered to all of our staff is a step towards that. We are so grateful to our staff who have taken us up on this package. And because of that, we are able to not move forward with laying off our teachers. There will be no layoffs to our teachers because, again, we value and know how important it is to have a teacher in every single classroom. But of course, this does mean that we still need to move forward with certain other positions. We will be laying off central office staff. We will have to make layoffs to some of our counselors and some of our paraeducators, because that is the only way for us to close the $114 million deficit that we have now. The other strategy that we will be talking about at the board tomorrow is our commitment for operational efficiencies. And that includes us moving into a new payroll, budgeting, and procurement system called Frontline. For too long, we have used a system that has been untested. And as a result, we have hurt our staff. We have put our staff in a very vulnerable position. Not anymore. We will be moving towards a system that is used throughout the state of California, that has been tried and tested. Our staff have been working diligently on making sure that this transition will be successful. However, please know that if we are not ready to transition into this new system, I am ready to press pause, because our staff deserves that. We need to be thoughtful in the way we make this happen so that we can budget appropriately, and equally as important, we can ensure that we will be able to pay our staff on time. I'm going to pause here and take any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Superintendent. So we're gonna call out outlets who have checked in and who are here. We're gonna start with the Chronicle, Jill Tucker.
How many questions do I get?
You get one, and then we'll come back around.
Okay, thank you. So in terms of the layoff, the early retirement of the teachers, you went through a first round and then you reopened it again. I'm wondering if that means that you will be backfilling some of the positions, because obviously the teachers at the higher experience level get paid more. And I'm wondering if that's the case, if you're filling those positions with newer teachers as more people leave and retirees, what does that mean for the experience level? Because we do know that newer teachers, new teachers tend to leave more. So what are the implications of that, to lose so many of the most experienced teachers?
So just to be clear, the early retirement package that we offered was offered to all of our employees, not just teachers. But because a lot of our employees took us up on this offer, we were able to say we will not lay off teachers. We are still moving forward with other reductions in our system. In terms of supporting our teachers, we are very much committed to ensuring that we continue to have professional development, professional learning, and coaching opportunities for our teachers, and supporting them as we roll out our both literacy and math curriculum. We know that our teachers are very dedicated and committed to our schools. We have a lot of wonderful teachers in our district now, and I'm so honored and happy that they have chosen us and they've chosen to stay here to teach our students.
So you don't see this as lowering the average experience level in the district, or do you know at this point?
I believe that if we continue to provide that professional development and learning support for our teachers, we will continue to increase the tools and the resources that our teachers receive, and they will bring that into the classroom.
So we'll take the next question from Adam Lushinsky, Standard.
I want to defer to Han if he has any questions. Go ahead.
Yes, I have.
Thank you.
So, thank you, Superintendent. So I checked on the board doc for the new system, Frontline, and the Red Rover. Before we stabilize in maybe 26, 27, we're going to spend like $30 million launching this. Is that considered like a lot of money? I mean, we have this financial crisis right now.
Well, it does take us a lot of money to stabilize the current system. However, when we do pivot to the new Frontline system, I believe that the amount will significantly reduce.
Great. Ida, first.
Hi, yes. You mentioned that if there is any reason to press pause on the new system, you will. What would be the signs that you do need to press pause, and what are the implications for having efficiency in running the central office if you do pause it, and how long would it end up being paused for?
Right now, I am very confident that we're moving in the right direction. We actually have a tool, Frontline and Red Rover, which is used across the entire state. Actually, I believe 60% of other school districts across the state use these two systems. So they are a system that is very familiar with how school districts run and what is needed for school districts. If we are not on track, which is, there's a metric that we have, if we're not on track for whatever reason, then I will make that decision at that moment in time. Right now, we are on track.
Suzanne from ABC 7.
Yes, hi. So there's talk of this early retirement package that you're offering so that we wouldn't have to lay off teachers, but how many people, do you have a gauge? How many people have submitted for early retirement, and how many people are you looking for to kind of help offset?
We had initially set a goal of 314 people in order for us to even make the package meaningful. At this moment in time, we have received well over that. I want everyone to remember, we still need to make a $114 million reduction to our system. And that means we have to reduce our workforce. Using the early retirement package is a compassionate and sensitive way to make that happen. We are so thankful to all the people who have dedicated many years of their job to SFUSD, many years of their career to SFUSD, and have now chosen to, or have been thinking about retiring, and now have chosen to do that now to help us with this budget.
I have a follow-up question. So if you've got more than 314 people who are interested in the early retirement submission, there's also talk that you were planning to cut from the central budget, the central office, 205 positions. That would be a savings of $34 million. So can you add it all up for us between that and the early retirement savings?
So with the reduction of central office and the other reductions that we have to continue to make, that is how we're going to get to the $114 million reduction that we need to make in order to stabilize the district, in order to stay on track with our fiscal stabilization plan. Many years ago, central office was at 25% of our total budget. With this reduction, central office will be at 16% of our total budget, meaning 84% of our budget will be going towards students and schools.
Thank you. I'm gonna call Anne Rubin from KTVU.
Is it possible, and I know you sort of touched on this, but just to clarify one more time, why the urgency in spending money on the frontline system when it seems to be the priority to cut to balance the budget? Like you said, it was hurting teachers under the current system. Could you explain, like, why does this need to happen now?
Well, when I came into this district, what I discovered is that we had lots of silos that was happening across our divisions. And one of those are our budgeting system, our finance system, our procurement system, and our payroll system. Because these systems had very difficult times talking to each other, we ended up with, unfortunately, a very terrible situation where we couldn't pay our staff on time and accurately. That cannot happen under my watch. It will not happen. It is unconscionable that it did happen, and we cannot allow that to be the case moving forward. So that's why it is really important for us to pivot from where we are now to a new system that is once again used by 60% of school districts throughout the state. It is a tried and true system that truly understands how to support and provide that operational budgeting that school districts need.
Jessica Su from Sino.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Jessica. I want to ask a question about the combined classes, because combined classes can reduce teacher. So a lot of parents said they try to use the PTA fund to hire another teacher to avoid combined, but the SFUSD not suggest to do that. Could you tell more about it?
So I am very determined to ensure that we have a teacher in every single one of our classrooms, because that is how learning happens. If we have classrooms that do not have a certificated teacher in it, we will not be able to meet our goals of 3rd grade literacy, 8th grade math, and college and career readiness. As part of that, what I am asking is for all teachers who are working outside of the classroom to please go back into the classroom. We are not laying off any of our teachers. We are asking teachers to go back into the classroom to support our schools, to support our students. And so that's why we're asking for families and for PTAs specifically to hold off on hiring certificated teachers to allow the district to hire those teachers to fill these vacancies first.
Katie from KQED.
Hey, I wanted to ask specifically about those combined classes as well, and there already are some combined classes across the district. Will there be any additional ones added next year, and if so, how does that kind of address ensuring equitable access to education?
So we are really excited that this year alone, we received over 700 transitional kindergarten applications for schools. We received over 150 additional kindergarten applications this year. And if this trend continues, we will see that growth in our enrollment. I am really excited. It's a wonderful problem to have when you're looking for expanding classrooms for our transitional kindergartners. So that is what we're trying to build towards. Ways for us to increase our enrollment by opening up more transitional kindergarten classrooms, having more kindergarten classrooms, and then making sure that our families see how wonderful SFUSD is and having families stay with us from elementary to middle to high school.
I see a hand there.
KPI next. Which school or schools are going to be greatly affected by this? And have parents and teachers of these schools already been informed on these layoffs? Like which ones?
So we are working with our principals. Our principals actually last week just submitted their budgets. And right now we're going through those budgets and finalizing that. So within another couple of weeks, we'll be able to turn back our response to the principals, and then principals can move forward with addressing their staffing changes.
Patrick?
I'm wondering if you could address what impact on the functions of central office this will have. Because I think on the one hand, there's been a lot of discussion about overstaffing or bloat at central office. On the other hand, I think there's also been a general understanding or agreement that some of the functions of central office have not been living up to what they need to for the students, for the schools. Could you address what you think the effect will be beneficially or mitigating the downside?
So when I came into this district 6 months ago, what I discovered was that there were a lot of silos that happened between our divisions, between our departments. There were very little coherence between divisions and departments. And what I am proposing in tomorrow's Board of Education meeting is a new organizational structure that will increase staff collaboration, that will increase our coherence across schools, academics, curriculum and instruction, and training, so that we can truly support our teachers when we roll out a new curriculum, so that they have the skills that they need. That training is informed by the data that we are collecting, so that we know how to target that training for which schools that need it the most. So that when we are talking about supporting principals, we're talking about having the people who support the principals working side by side with the people who are going to train the principals. That's the coordination and the coherence I'm going to make. And that means we're moving departments closer together. We're building that operational efficiencies so that we're all moving in the same direction. We're all rowing in the same direction towards common outcomes, common goals. On the operational side, we need to make sure that our systems are talking to each other. We need to make sure that we have an operational system that is a standard K-12 system that is used across the state, so that we can have that level of clarity when we're entering budgets into the system. We can have that level of clarity in knowing where all of our positions are, so that we can have position control. I believe that this central office reorganization will bring us that level of quality control, clarity across our different units, coherence across the departments, and reducing silos and duplication of effort and work.
Just 1 second, we have one more. Epoch Times, Crystal Lou, no questions? Okay, so we're at 5 minutes to close. We're gonna do just one quick round. Whoever raises their hand, I'm just kidding. So we're gonna do 5 minutes, and then Superintendent Sue and President Kim will also be available for pull-asides if you want to stay a little bit past 11:30. So last questions, I see Suzanne.
Yeah, quick question. Counselors, paraeducators who said that they would be cut, are they considered central staff? If not, do you have a guesstimate as to how many of these counselors and paraeducators in which schools they'd be impacted?
So once again, I'm very committed to making sure that we have a certificated teacher in every single one of our classrooms, so that we can meet the goals of achieving those student outcomes that our board has set out for us. Unfortunately, we still need to move forward with making a $114 million reduction to our budget. And that does mean that we have to lay off some of our counselors and some of our paraprofessionals, as well as members of our central office.
Han and Neda, and then we're gonna need to, and then I see, and another, okay, 1, 2, 3, and then we're gonna need to close.
Hi, Superintendent. So, from the audit report, there was a recommendation suggesting the district to hire an internal auditor. Any updates on that?
I have no updates on that.
You mentioned bringing, I know the district is moving the TSAs into the classroom so that every classroom has a qualified teacher. How many TSAs are going to be reassigned? And what's the district's plan for if they decide they don't want to go in the classroom and instead leave the district, and to make sure that there's proper hiring to get everyone set?
Yeah, we're happy to follow up
Yeah.
with you on that, on background and just sort of some of the plans.
Well,
Unless
I can very quickly say, we have over 100 teachers on special assignments, those are called TOSAs, across the district. And my goal is to ask all of those teachers on special assignments to please go back into the classroom and help our students so that our students can be successful and will meet those outcomes that we have laid out for them.
Would you just give a couple examples of what those special assignments look like? What are they doing?
So some of, actually, can you?
Yeah, intervention, they're sometimes doing a special project like a garden teacher, or they're a coach.
Thank you.
And again, happy to follow up if anyone has additional sort of technical questions. And then I see last question that
Okay, and this is sort of touching on what I was gonna ask too, which is, so you've got a lot of moving parts here, right? And so, and a lot of places where you're gonna have people retiring or people being asked to move. So what happens now in terms of the bigger picture assessment? Do you say, all right, here's where we had a lot of retirements at this school, or here's where we've got big gaps. Is there now a reorganization based on what you're left with to work with?
Well, absolutely. We actually have a fantastic associate superintendent of HR that's sitting right there, Amy Baer. And she's going to be the one that's going to help us figure out where all those gaps are and how do we fill that. Right now, we're moving forward in hiring a deputy superintendent of business services to help us move the business and operation side forward. We are in the process of hiring a technical services officer to make sure that we have our technology programs and services in place. So we're already starting to move forward with either the hiring or the rehiring or filling of vacant positions that I have now.
Thank you, Superintendent. So before we close today, I just want to let everybody know a recording of today's coverage will be shared alongside a press release that will contain additional information about the topics that were discussed today. So please look out for that in your emails.